My name is Slip of the Tongue, Somatic Anxiety, and its Strategy in English Speaking Class by Farida Indri Wijayanti, Monica Widyastuti Surtikanti, Nurlailiyah. The present study delves into the type of slip of the tongue occurring in formal speaking class, accompanied by somatic anxiety and strategies to reduce it. The research employed a qualitative approach through students' observation of simulation, survey, and in-depth interviews. The participants were 91 students of the English language program joining the formal speaking class. The data were analyzed using the theory of slip of the tongue and the framework of somatic anxiety. The result revealed four types of tongue slips found in the formal speaking class: addition, substitution, preservation, and repetition. The students with somatic anxiety produced more slip of the tongue than the non-anxious students. Substitution is the most dominant error produced by students. Most substitutions occur due to the phonological similarity effect either in the mother tongue or in the target language. The findings also reported that the slip of the tongue was accompanied by somatic symptoms such as cardiopulmonary symptoms, musculoskeletal, gastrointestinal, and general symptoms. Students mostly experience cardiopulmonary symptoms, palpitations, heavy sweating or perspiration, and nausea followed the symptoms. In addition, the internal factors that contributed to the slip of the tongue were fear of the stage, lack of confidence, and shyness factor. Finally, music therapy is perceived to be effective in alleviating the students' somatic symptoms and speech errors. Keywords: formal speaking class, music therapy, psycholinguistics, slip of the tongue, somatic anxiety. Introduction. Creating an active foreign language speaking class is not an easy job for a teacher. Studies have scrutinized that foreign language anxiety widely as a distinct component influencing learners' oral production. Yam and Inseke, 2014. Student self-regulation, anxiety, confidence, and willingness to collaborate contribute to students' oral presentations. Maldini and Indah, 2020. It means the students face internal challenges in their speaking performance. Students who have anxiety when speaking in front of others show poor performance in learning the English language, a lack of confidence, and a fear of making mistakes in their speech. Ms.Dewanti et al. Flores defines anxiety as a feeling of unease, dread, and terror. A person experiencing anxiety may feel overly tense and restless, experience a rapid heart, and perspire. These are natural reactions of the body to stress. Speaking anxiety can range from a mild case of nervousness to intense panic. Anxiety related to public speaking is a major problem for a lot of communicators, partly because it causes uncomfortable bodily reactions that might divert or impede the speaker's normal communication style. The most typical signs of speaking anxiety include trembling in the hands and feet, shivering, sweating, panic, amnesia, blankness, butterflies in the stomach, dry mouth and throat, rapid heartbeat, and squeaky voice. Rajita Alamelu, 2020. According to them, the internal factors that contribute to speaking anxiety are stage fear, lack of confidence, and shyness. Karatas et al. 2016 state that foreign language learners frequently worry about their ability to communicate in a foreign language when speaking. In formal settings, speaking anxiety poses a unique challenge, influencing individual tasks with handling events like the master of ceremony and moderator, delivering presentations, speeches, and other formal settings. Anxiety may contribute to tongue slip, which occurs due to psychological pressure. Saryasih et al. Slips happen when the speaker unintentionally makes the actual utterance that is different from the intended utterance. A slip of the tongue deviates slightly from what was intended to be said. Daud and Mustafa. Regarding the slip of the tongue case, Atchison 2007 has subdivided slip of the tongue into two major categories, namely selection errors and assemblage errors. Errors in word selection illustrate the speaker's awareness of parts of speech classes and how they fit into sentence frames, which conclude semantic errors, similar meaning errors, malapropism, similar sound error, and blends. Semantic errors are in the form of word selection in which slots are filled by wrong words. Malapropism can occur when speakers chose the first word that sound correct out of imperfect phonetic representations of the words they are thinking of. Furthermore, blending errors are selection errors that happen when two words are combined to generate a new word. In addition, Atchison has defined assemblage errors as errors in which the correct word choices had been made, but the items chosen to have been faultily assembled, including transposition, anticipation, and repetition. Transpositions are errors in which two segments are interchanged, and so the origin of one error is the target for the other, and vice versa. Anticipation error occur when a speaker anticipates what he is going to say by bringing an item too early. In repetition error, a speaker repeats one or more words in a row. While Atchison has categorized slip of the tongue, Carroll had different categories of tongue lips that are shift, exchange, anticipation, preservation, addition, deletion, and blend. In shifts, one speech segment disappears from its appropriate location and appears somewhere else. Exchanges are, in effect, double shifts in which two linguistic units exchange places. Anticipation occurs in the appropriate place and earlier in the speech. They differ from shifts in that the segment that intrudes on another also remains in its correct location and thus is used twice. Preservation occurs when an earlier segment came after the origin and replaced in later segment. Addition adds some additional linguistic materials into the utterances, whereas deletions leave something out. Substitutions occur when the speaker replaces a word. They typically come up with an inaccurate word that is nonetheless connected to the original term, either semantically or phonologically. Finally, blends occur when the two desired elements are being considered along with multiple words. In both formal and informal contexts, slips of the tongue can happen anytime and or in any circumstance. Speech errors have two primary causes according to Zhu. Physiological variables account for the first, while physiological factors account for the second. Speech errors can be caused by physiological variables such as gender, age, and bodily problems, but physiological issues are mostly the result of an oppressed mind manifested through specific errors. Situational anxiety, social variables, and cognitive difficulty are the factors that affect the formation of slips. Previous studies related to speaking anxiety have been conducted by several researchers, such as the factors of speaking anxiety by Meluah, Santoso and Perodin and Alakil and Al-Talhab. Strategies to minimize students' anxiety by Ms.Dewanti et al. Level and causes of speaking anxiety by gender differences and factors of speaking anxiety Fauzia et al., Karatas et al. And Mahardika and Widyantoro. Research on the slip of the tongue contributed by physiological factors such as anxiety and nervousness has been explored in various formal settings such as interviews and debate. Despite previous studies highlighting the influence of physiological factors, there remains a gap in investigating speaking anxiety accompanied by somatic symptoms. Thus, the novelty of this study presents the gap in investigating the slip of the tongue accompanied by somatic anxiety. Formal speaking engagements often amplify the pressure and expectation placed on individuals, potentially triggering or intensifying somatic symptoms. It may be challenging for speakers who exhibit high levels of psychological trait anxiety to have somatic stress symptoms. The symptoms associated with formal presentations may contribute to the well-being and performance of speakers. Rajita and Alamelu have explained some typical signs of speaking anxiety as a result of language anxiety. In addition, Witt et al. Have studied the investigation of somatic anxiety patterns in giving a public speech, but their influence on the language production in the speech remains to be deeply explored. The preliminary survey reported that more than half of the students in the class speaking for formal interaction in the English education program Universitas Islam Negeri Raden Mas Said Surakarta in the academic year of 2023-2024 have gastrointestinal problems. This is in line with a previous study conducted by Kasuma et al., who found that irritable bowel syndrome (IBS) as a functional gastrointestinal disorder was found in 30.2% of 454 students. Compared to other Asian countries, it revealed a greater incidence of IBS among Indonesian high school students. Additionally, one of the clusters of somatic anxiety is gastrointestinal symptoms. From a preliminary survey, the students who feel somatic anxiety experience gastrointestinal symptoms, which alter the speech production. It is evident that in recent decades, relaxation treatment has gained popularity as a stress reduction strategy and is beneficial in a variety of cultural contexts. One of the strategies for promoting relaxation and reducing somatic anxiety is music therapy. Music therapy is a methodical intervention procedure in which the therapist works with the client to enhance their health by utilizing musical experiences and the connections that arise from them as dynamic agents of transformation that can be used to reduce anxiety. Therefore, the current study aimed to further earlier research by analyzing the somatic response pattern contributing to slip of the tongue in speaking for formal interaction class as well as by exploring that relationship. This research endeavors to unravel the intricate interplay between somatic anxiety issues and formal speaking, acknowledging the potential bidirectional relationship between physiological responses and formal contexts. By delving into the somatic during formal speaking, the study seeks to offer a deeper understanding of the unique challenges posed by formal contexts and views the effectiveness of music therapy in alleviating the symptoms and errors in speech production. Methodology. The study used a descriptive qualitative methodology. The researchers employed video recording of the speaking class while simulating some settings in formal interaction as the data source. The 91 students of the second semester in the English education program Universitas Islam Negeri Raden Mas Said Surakarta in the academic year 2023-2024 were involved in the study. The participants differentiated with 66 students with somatic symptoms during speaking and the remaining 25 students were not anxious. The data included utterances containing a slip of the tongue and the result of the survey and interview. The participants simulated various formal settings such as master of ceremony, moderator, news anchor, news reporter, and speech. The information was gathered in stages. The technique of data collecting was initiated by listening to the student simulation directly to fully comprehend the utterances. The next action was to take note of a slip of the tongue made by students by observing the students' performance comprehensively. After the simulation, the researchers distributed surveys to assess somatic symptoms the students felt during their performance. Participants were asked to complete the somatic symptoms during formal speaking via an online questionnaire. The information about somatic symptoms was also obtained by in-depth interviews to explore students' subjective experiences in greater detail. The students followed 14 meetings of speaking class and had opportunities to perform speaking in front of class twice. Music therapy was given after the sixth meeting. After that, the students were asked to give their perceptions of the effectiveness of music therapy. The music therapy was Shooting Relaxation by Peter B. Hallen, taken from youtube.com. This video was listened by the students and it was chosen because of the good impact that is viewed and listened by more than 211 million viewers with positive commentary. Data were analyzed based on the somatic symptoms by Beckwith et al. And types of slip of the tongue proposed by Atchison and Carroll. Result and discussion. Slip of the tongue. Based on the surveys, these following are slip of the tongue produced by either participant with anxious or no anxious feeling. Table 1. The frequency of slip of the tongue types. Addition 32 for frequency and 15. Addition 32 for anxious students and 15 for non-anxious students. Substitution 50 for anxious students and 26 for non-anxious students. Preservation 5 for anxious students and none for non-anxious students. Repetition 10 for anxious students and none for non-anxious students. The data in Table 1 indicates that the students produced a slip of the tongue during the simulation of speaking for formal interaction. The participants who are anxious classified with somatic symptoms produced more slip of the tongue than non-anxious students with no somatic symptoms. The most common slip of the tongue produced by 76 students with 50 anxious students and 26 non-anxious students in substitution. The next slip of the tongue was frequently made by 32 students with somatic anxiety and 15 students with no somatic anxiety in addition. Other slip the tongue such as perseverance and repetition were produced by a few of the students who felt anxious. The following is each explanation of a slip of the tongue. 1. Addition. According to Carroll, this kind of error occurs when the speaker incorporates more language elements to their speech. The speaker can add phonemes, morphemes, articles, conjunctions, complete words, or even phrases as linguistic elements. For example, ladies and gentlemen, now this is high time for us to listen to the speech from the head of Yayasan Taqwa Cerdas Kreatif by Mr. Ihsan Ibadur Rahman. Please, time is yours. Honorable the Headmaster School of Alpha Centauri Elementary School, Mrs. Ika Dewi Sulistiawati. To you all for your participation and support. We wish you a safe journey back home. Once again, thank you and good afternoon. Thank you for the highest appreciation for our presenters who have shared their knowledge. The first session was a question and answer session between the moderator and the presenters. A big thank you to our distinguished guests. There is an extra sound in the pronunciation of each bold word in the example 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. The students add H into honorable and K into knowledge, so that the word honorable in the example is pronounced as honorable, and knowledge in the example 4 is pronounced knowledge. For example, 1, 3, 5, 6 additional sound T, R, V, and U are attached to the word in the middle of pronunciation like listen, afternoon, answer, and distinguished. And the extra t, h, r, k, w, and u in the example 1 up to 6 sounds are not supposed to be there. They can be considered a type of slip of tongue called addition. In the examples, the inappropriate addition of sound is characteristic of a slip of the tongue addition type. 2. Substitution. When a speaker substitutes a word, they usually produce one that is incorrect but is yet connected to the intended term, either phonologically or semantically. When a speaker substitutes words that have entirely different meanings from what they should, it confuses the audience. 7. Ladies and gentlemen, we now come to the end of this event, the educational seminar of Alpha Centauri Senior High School 2024. 8. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Shifa Aulia Anandita. It is an awesome and precious chance for me. 9. Okay, now let us all have some fun, and it's time for the traditional bouquet throw. 10. Ladies, kindly take your place behind the bride and be prepared to catch the bouquet. 11. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Afita as moderator of today's session. Welcome you all. How are you? I hope you are always healthy and happy, okay? 12. Authorities have issued a flood warning for the region, advising residents to take precautionary measures. Example 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 show malapropism errors indicated by students who unintentionally pronounce a phonetically similar word or replace one word with another that is soundly familiar. Malapropism occurs when the incorrect use of a word has similar sound to the intended word but has different meaning. In the example, there are unintentional substitution between 7, even, and even. A. Change and change. Bouquet and bucket. Bride and bridge. How and who, and flood and flute. The two words have similar sound but different meanings, so that they can be categorized as malapropism errors. Students pronounce event with even for intended word with the meaning of an activity that is planned for a special purpose and usually involves a lot of people. For example, a meeting, party, trade show, or conference. It results in different meaning, that is, adverb used to show that something is surprising, unusual, unexpected, or extreme. Furthermore, example 8, change and change, and bouquet and bucket indicate the similar pattern of error. The students substitute the word change with pronounced as change for intended word meaning of an occasion that allows something to be done, and the word bouquet with bucket for the intended word meaning of a group of flowers that have been fastened together and attractively arranged so that they can be given as a present or carried on formal occasions. Therefore, pronunciation change results in different meaning, that is, exchange one thing for another thing, especially of a similar type, and pronunciation bucket produces in different intended word, that is, a container with an open top and a handle, often used for carrying liquids. The two last examples of malapropism error occur in pronunciation errors like word bridge for intended meaning a woman who is about to get married or has just got married, and who for intended meaning of greeting. The last example is the word flood, to cause to fill or become covered with water, especially in a way that causes problems, which is substituted in the word flute, a tube-shaped musical instrument with a hole that you blow across at one end while holding the tube out horizontally to one side. Other examples of substitution that do not result in different meanings are as follows. 13. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, before we start our agenda for today, we will be reciting the Holy Quran. 14. When people read newspapers during breakfast or watch television, news in the evening is gone, and with the advancing technology and busy lifestyles adopted by modern people, social media has gained popularity as a means of communication and information source. 15. The first session was a question and answer session between the moderator and the presenters. 16. Next, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of the event, where the conclusions that can be drawn from this afternoon's discussion. 17. Wow, it's been such a long time since we last met. Welcome to this morning's reunion event. 18. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give the most enthusiastic applause for our presenters this morning. 19. I'm Najwa Nur Ashifa, wishing you a great and productive afternoon. 20. The Honorable Dean of Faculty, Cultures and Languages, Professor Haji Imam Makruf. 21. Honorable Chief of Planner, Mr. Arifin Rudianto, representing Deputy Minister for Maritime and National Resources Ministry of National Development Planning for Bappenas. 22. On behalf of the host and the organizing committee, we extend our appreciation for your support and your active participation during this meeting, and also thank you for joining us online. 23. Ladies and gentlemen, today I'm here to deliver a message of motivation, one that I hope will light a fire within you and inspire you to unlock your fullest potential. 24. This is the best way to ensure you are in the know and effectively informed. 25. My aim today is to shed light on both the positive and negative effects of the technological advancements on our societal structure, behavior, and relationships. The word agenda, presenters, gentleman, discussion, reunion, productive, culture, maritime, committee, today, effective, and structure are pronounced differently unintentionally. The consonant substitution occurs in the word agenda and technology when the sound J is substituted with the sound G. The word agenda in example 13 is pronounced as agenda instead of the intended word agenda. And the word technology in the example 14 is pronounced as technology instead of the intended word technology. Vowel substitution is also made in the word agenda because the change involves the substitution of a with a sound in the word. Mispronunciation errors in example 15 to 25 for words such as presenter for presenter, discussion for discussion, and reunion for reunion, and gentleman for gentleman, productive for productive, culture for culture, maritime for maritime, committee for committee, today for today, effective for effective, and structure. The example of 13 up to 23 can be categorized as a vowel substitution because the change involves the substitution. The students replaced the sound with the sound u in the word today, with the sound in the word effective. Next, the sound e is replaced with the sound in the sound presenter and reunion, and the sound r is replaced with u in words discussion, productive, culture, and structure. Double substitution in the word committee are made by replacing the sound with the sound o and the sound e with the sound Multiple substitution in the word maritime are created by replacing the sound with the sound r, the sound with the sound e, and the sound I with the sound a. In addition, the influence of word pronunciation man, the students also substitute sound a into gentleman. Gentleman should be pronounced as gentleman. 3. Preservation. Preservations occur when an earlier segment replaces a later item. 26. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Shifa Aulia Anandita. It is an awesome and precious chance for me to be your master of ceremony this morning. 27. I am Afita Atmaja Salsabila. As the moderator of today's discussion session, take my leave and thank you for your attention. 28. Absolutely. Have you all had breakfast yet? Don't forget to taste. Many food has been served. Thank you, Ms.Dewanti, for delivering the closing remarks as our official closing. And with that, we now come to the end of this event, G20 Development. 30. My aim today is to shed light on both the positive and negative effects of technological advancement on our societal structures, behaviors, and relationships. In the example 26, the students made preservation sound A for the word name at the beginning into the word is. In the word name is. My name is become my name is. My name is become my name is. The first segment take with sound A replaced the later item leave in the example. The word leave should be pronounced as live. Furthermore, the same pattern of repetitive sound also occurs in the word 28, forget and taste, 29, now and come, and 30, shed and light. That the first segment forget with the sound is replaced the later sound test. The word taste should be pronounced as taste. In addition, the word now in the first segment with the sound ow replaced the later sound of the word come. The word come should be pronounced come. In the last example 30, the students make the preservation sound for the word at the beginning shed into the word light. The word light should be pronounced as light. Examples 26, 27, 28, 29, and 30 can be categorized as preservation because there is any repetitive sound that comes after the origin sound. For repetition, a speaker produces repetition errors when repeating one or more words in a row. The following are examples of repetition errors made by the students during formal speaking. 31. Motivation without or without action is like a ship without a sail. 32. While it offers unprecedented opportunities for growth and connectivity, it also presents significant challenges that we must address. 33. First or firstly, let's define what trauma. Speech errors occur when pupils repeat words because they are trying to convince themselves what they stated by using similar words like without or without, while or while, and first or firstly. Somatic symptoms. The study revealed that the students with anxious feeling experience a greater occurrence of somatic symptoms during the formal speaking simulation as follows. Table 2. Frequency of somatic symptoms. Musculoskeletal 23.5%, gastrointestinal 17.6%, cardiopulmonary 73.2%, general symptoms 11.8%. The result reported cardiopulmonary symptoms such as excessive perspiration and palpitation were experienced by the students about 73.2. Then musculoskeletal in the form of tingling of fingers or shivering was experienced by 23.5% of students. Next, gastrointestinal like a bloated feeling in the abdomen, nausea or upset stomach was felt by 17.6% of students. Furthermore, general dizziness of or feeling lightheaded occurred in 11.8% of students. Examining specific somatic symptoms, the research identified distinct patterns associated with formal speaking anxiety experienced by students. About 64.7% of students have gastrointestinal problems, but it only produces 17.6% somatic anxiety. Palpitations emerged as the most commonly reported symptoms, followed by excessive perspiration or sweating and nausea. Music therapy. The following are the students' perception toward music therapy in reducing their somatic symptoms and speech errors. Table 3. Students' perception of music therapy as a strategy. Do you feel any difference in nuance before and after music therapy? Yes, 76.7% and no, 23.3%. Do you feel more relaxed while speaking with music therapy? Yes, 84.2% and no for 15.8%. Do you feel more confident while speaking with music therapy? Do you feel your anxiety reduced while speaking with music therapy? Do you feel your pronunciation is more organized while speaking with music therapy? The student's perception is positive toward the use of music therapy during speaking class. Most students felt more relaxed and confident after being given music therapy while speaking. More than half of students felt their anxiety reduced as their pronunciation more organized. The results show that addition occur in double consonant in one syllable. Additions are often found in the words that have two consonants in one syllable, such as knowledge, and in the middle of double consonant syllabication, such as listen and answer. Some students reported that they had performed in formal situations. I have never been an MC in formal setting before. That's why I feel shy to speak. I feel nausea and unintentionally make some slip of the tongue, though I have practiced many times before performing. Based on survey evidence of students' perception toward music therapy, it has a positive impact on their performance and it reduces their anxiety in speaking. This result is consistent with Krishna et al. Finding that demonstrated the efficacy of music therapy in lowering symptoms. This is also in line with Ms.Dewanti et al., who proposed self-hypnosis and deep relaxation in minimizing speaking anxiety. In the interview result, the students reported that I feel relaxed and my anxiety is reduced. My palpitations reduce and even I become sleepy and I feel more confident and more focused in pronouncing each word and it seems my error in producing words also reduced. Based on the teacher's observation, the music therapy minimizes somatic anxiety of the students. The students did not produce excessive sweating anymore after therapized with music therapy. The teachers also noted that the slip of the tongue produced by the somatic anxiety students have reduced. Causes of slip of the tongue. The students applied some similar character rules in syllabication that resulted in additional errors. They add additional phonemes for syllabication for double consonant. The syllabication rule thought was the VZ or CV syllabication rule. The VZ or CV rule states that when two or more consonants stand between two vowels, divide between the consonants keeping blends and digraphs together. The students are familiar with words with double consonant syllabication such as happy, butter, little, and so forth, which are cut off in the middle of words. Therefore, they make a slip of the tongue in the form of adding an extra sound in the pronunciation. In Fitriana's study, additions are errors that happen frequently, but listeners are unaware of these as additions occasionally because they just include a single minor sentence piece that frequently gives the sentence the appearance of being in order. Substitution errors are the most frequent error in student speaking. Substitution is a common pattern in which one phone or set of phones is swapped out for another phone or set of phones. Substitutions took place because of the similarity effect of the mother tongue language's pronunciation. This is in line with Wei et al., who state that particular pronunciation errors made by non-native speakers are typically brought on by their mother tongue. L2 learners or speakers who are still studying a second language are frequently described as such. Results show many substitution errors such as agenda, technology, discussion, reunion, bouquet, maritime, maritim, culture, kultur, presenter, presenter, productive, productive, committee, comite, effective, affective, and structure, struktur. Those words are adapted in the Indonesian language in different pronunciations for similar intended meanings so that the students preserved the pronunciation in the Indonesian language which seemed to be more familiar to them. Furthermore, students may struggle to distinguish between Indonesian gay and English J in the words agenda and technology if they are not familiar with this distinction in their native tongue. Some substitution errors, such as in the word event, even, and change, are a result of phonological similarity effect in the target language. This is in line with Page et al., who state that an increase in errors in the immediate serial recall of lists containing similar sounding words is the hallmark of the phonological similarity effect. Taxler and Grensbacher state that speakers choose their words accurately but then make mistakes while putting their sounds together. Occasionally, speakers are unable to produce all of the sounds of a word they intend to say. The findings are in accordance with Yulaiha and Indah, who found that informal interactions like the interviews, slips of the tongue can be attributed to a variety of issues, including cognitive difficulties, situational anxiety, and social concerns. Slip of the tongue can occur accidentally while speaking, even in well-prepared and script-based performance. This phenomenon can occur unintentionally while speaking, and the students may not realize the error until afterward. The result of the interview showed that the students were well practiced before speaking and checked every single word pronunciation with their application tools to help with unfamiliar words. Unfortunately, somatic anxiety influences their pronunciation during speaking in front of the class. Therefore, there are some slips of the tongue. This result supports the theory of Scoville, who states that the state anxiety is a transient state characterized by specific bodily symptoms that are felt at a certain instant or place in time. Situation-specific anxiety reflects and recurs in particular circumstances. There are somatic symptoms experienced by students such as excessive perspiration, breathlessness, tingling in fingers, bloated feelings in the abdomen, general dizziness or feeling lightheaded, palpitations, and sweating. This is in line with the findings of who state that anxious foreign language learners has symptoms like perspiration, palpitation, stress, forgetfulness, and difficulty learning the language. Based on the interview, speaking in front of their peers causes a great deal of anxiety for students learning a foreign language. The students made some errors in pronunciation, although they have prepared and practiced many times before performing. This is in line with the findings of Prince in Karatas et al., who discovered that the students were worried about pronouncing words incorrectly in front of their peers. Yalcin and Insen K say that when speaking, pronunciation matters a lot. Certain students disclosed that they struggle with their difficulties in speaking, mistakes in pronouncing words, way of speaking, and ability to manage, but if frightened, can't speak even a word voice modulation. The most common cause of anxiety in learners is having to talk without having had time to prepare. Furthermore, regarding the time constraints for the exercises, it was suggested that when there was a time limit, the students were more involved in speaking spontaneously and were less focused on the mistakes they would make. However, in this study, the students still make slip of the tongue even though they were well prepared and practiced previously before performing the formal speaking simulation. Additionally, the students are not spontaneous speaking because they are script-based. This support the findings of Fitriana, who found that even those with a strong track record of language proficiency can make a slip of the tongue. Even with their fluency in English, the speakers in her study were unable to effectively communicate the speech's meaning. According to Horwitz et al. And Katagay, a type of shyness characterized by fear of or anxiety about communicating with people is communication apprehension. Apprehension about others' evaluation, avoidance of evaluative situations, and the expectation that others would evaluate oneself negatively are all examples of fear of negative evaluation. Lastly, test anxiety is defined as a type of performance anxiety stemming from a fear of failure and encompasses exams and tests taken during language acquisition. Furthermore, factors contributed to the slip of the tongue made by the students from internal, namely communication anxiety, low self-esteem, and fear of receiving a poor evaluation. In addition, fear of the stage, lack of confidence and shyness factors as viewed by Melua and Rajita and Alamelu become major factors contributing to the errors. The result shows that students with somatic anxiety elicited more slip of the tongue, substitution, and addition than the non-anxious students. In addition, perseverance and repetition are not produced by the non-anxious students. Student speaking is accompanied by some somatic symptoms like palpitation, sweating, and shivering. This finding is similar with Yaman and Demirtas, who stated that the students reported anxiety such as my hands begin to shiver while speaking, my heart beats too fast before beginning to speak, my mouth often goes dry while speaking, drinking water sometimes makes me comfortable during the speech. This finding also supports Perinen et al. View that the emotional reaction such as anxiety can trigger physiological responses that change the speech production process. Adults tend to communicate with more filled pauses in stressful situations compared to less stressful ones. It means that negative physiological dimensions accompany the process of communication will lead into the speaking performance, especially speech errors. The interview results indicated a similar findings with the previous studies that students feel fear of the stage and perform formally in front of the class. They felt that speaking in front of their friends and imagined the peer feedback affected their speech. Some students said, during the simulation in front of the class, I feel shivering, which makes me nervous and makes mistakes in delivery. Other students said, before the simulation, I have memorized the text fluently, but when in front of the class, the memorized material suddenly disappears and it is blank. The other factor is a lack of confidence. Some somatic symptoms reduce the students' confidence during simulation, and they make them feel fear of making mistakes. From the interview, they informed that Normally, I speak with confidence, but I get scared when formally. I feel palpitation and sweating. This is also supported by the observation of the teacher that most students who elicit somatic anxiety get sweating in front of class, though the air conditioner is at the lowest temperature. Another student said, during the presentation, the vision suddenly became blurry, causing the wrong sentence to be said that had been prepared. Another student reported that even though I had practiced last night and I had studied the pronunciation last night, it was still wrong when I felt panicked. And there was something like a problem in my stomach, and I felt like what I had learned last night seemed to have forgotten everything. I missed it. Suddenly it went blank. The other factor is shyness. Conclusion and recommendation. In summary, this study has enlightened our knowledge of formal language speaking anxiety. The research clearly shows that a variety of physiological factors elicited students' ability to speak formally in front of the class. The result of this study add to expanding corpus of information regarding the connection between physiological markers and formal speaking anxiety. Even though the speaking was conducted with some preparation and script based, the students still make various types of slip of the tongue. The current study concludes that using music therapy can effectively reduce somatic symptoms and speech errors. Further studies that take into account variables related to the learners not covered in this study, such as individual differences, somatic severity level, gender, class management, and additional factors that may be connected to second language speaking anxiety are advised. References